All right, we're live again with Jason. So it seems like I'm the only one of the two that can have bedhead, but it's technically what, day 4 now for you.
Yeah.
So we started Monday, we had our first talk. People were very interested. I saw your post, my post. Tell me about your experience so far, what you've seen, learned, and then we'll start our next step.
All right. So I think over the past 3 days, the biggest thing that I've seen is that how hard it is to get to that protein goal.
Right.
It's very easy to meet the carb and fat goal and even go over it, but
Imagine
incredibly
that.
difficult to reach that protein goal.
And the expression I like to tell people is, carbs and fat are like cheap, quick, easy. Everything you love in life is a carbohydrate.
Yeah.
So, and an example I've used in the past is, you live in Niskayuna near Albany, near Wolf Road. There's a cheesecake factory.
Yep.
And you go to that cheesecake factory and you buy a slice of cheesecake, red velvet, and you eat it, you will probably hit all, or most of your carbs and fat for the day. Where to hit your protein, you're sitting there eating a lot of chicken.
Mm.
So what does that mean? Give us some empirical information, some data.
Um, yeah. So I think it's just been thinking about, okay, how is it that I'm going to meet that protein goal? What are the things I need to eat? Uh, do I need to incorporate protein shakes into my regular uh, or something like that? Because even as I look at something like eggs, which I like to eat, um, they've got the high protein, but there's also the fat content there. And so watching that, and then watching the other meats, some of the meats that I like to eat, also, they're high in protein, but they're high in fat. So how, like the some of the beef and you think about sausage and bacon, things like that. Um,
Well, and I think the bigger picture for you, Jason, is your learning. Where prior to Monday, other than times you've been on some sort of diet, you haven't thought about this, and now this is where, different than Weight Watchers, you're learning really what is in food.
mhm.
Like, because and that's where you'll start to make a lot of changes. So a lot of the people, and myself included, have you heard of paleo before?
Yeah,
So paleo is a lot of eating meat, but people don't realize, yeah, you're eating meat, which isn't necessarily terrible for you, but there's a lot of fat in it. So when I started eating this way, less bacon, eggs, some eggs became egg whites, less, you know, sausage type foods, and more chicken, turkey, etc. So when you talk about these numbers, how close were you these first few days to your protein, and how far over were you if you were on your carbs and fat?
yeah. So with the protein, I think I got yesterday was the closest I got, where I was at about 125.
Okay.
The target was 170. The previous 2 days were, I think I hit a little bit over 100 on Monday, and even close, like maybe like 110, 115 on Tuesday.
So
So kind of progressing.
pretty consistent though, where and that just shows that that's you trying to. So imagine how low it was without trying.
Yeah,
You probably, I mean, how now in retrospect, where do you think it was prior to Monday?
probably under 100, maybe even like 75.
And that's where I tell people, where, even someone that wants to lose weight, you may be eating enough, but most likely you're not eating them from the right, balance of macronutrients. So you might have been consuming enough calories consistently, but not enough protein. You were getting mostly carbs and fat. Now, where were your carbs and fat relative to where I had plugged them in for you?
Yeah, so I think carbs were, the target was 210, And I know yesterday I was at about 270.
Okay.
And then that's pretty similar for the other days as well. 240, 250. And then fat wise, I think I was consistently around 100.
And where do I have you at about?
70.
Okay, so you know, a great start because that wasn't the goal. Our goal to start was, hey, let's just focus on getting started, keeping everything tracked. So compared to where you were prior to Monday, do you think that was a normal day? Do you think you would have ate substantially? Do you think just keeping track of your food and being aware was helpful?
Yes, definitely. And what actually ended up happening all 3 days is that I didn't eat after 8 o'clock. So my meals up until then, and then at 8, since I was tracking things, I knew like, oh, I'm way I'm over my calories, and then I'm also over my fat and carbs, and so probably actually eat after 8 o'clock would probably be fat and carbs. So it helped me to not have that extra meal that I really didn't need, which I think has been my downfall in the past, is having that 9:30 snack that's not really a snack.
Yeah, and that's great. I think so. This has kind of showed you like I use the expression shut it down. So, I tell people this, like I'm pretty successful with this diet myself, this lifestyle, but and I enjoy foods I love, but there's not an amount of Oreos where I don't want one more.
Yeah.
You would, as a pastor, probably refer to that as gluttony.
Yeah.
Right? So, all I've learned about church, I've learned from Abby, by the way. So keep that in mind. Um,
Yeah.
Abby has educated me. So, my point being, there's no like, oh, I feel great. I'm not hungry. I don't want like Oreos, chips, etc. But the point is, when you look down at the app, it's really, reality. Well, this is what you ate. This compared to what you actually need. If you're going to eat more, you're not going towards your goals. That's, at the end of the day, if you eat like, and you did a phenomenal job with that. Hey, you look at the app, you're over. Basically what you're saying to yourself is, I ate the amount of food that my body truly needs to not just survive, but to succeed. Anything in addition to this is actually detrimental. So, and you just have to remember that. And then, the other good thing that it's doing is really, I think that everybody out there has like one thing, if not more, but one major thing that impedes them from being successful with nutrition. Yours and mine are virtually the same. Late night snacking, and mine is just, that's when I like to enjoy food. It's late, Roz and I are watching whatever show we're binging on Netflix on, and that's when I'm just kind of like, computer shut, I'm eating. But you did a great job realizing that and saying, okay, I'm done. That is probably where your downfall has been for the last, months, years, etc. Is that what you would think now?
Oh yeah, definitely. And especially, we moved out here from a more rural area.
More
Moving,
rural than Niskayuna?
yeah.
Where were you? Muncie, Pennsylvania?
I was in Interlake in New York,
All right.
uh,
Yeah.
which is in Finger Lakes, and a beautiful, beautiful area. But definitely didn't have I didn't have quick access to, Wendy's and McDonald's and
Yeah.
Taco Bell and all those places that, and even Sonic is really close now. So,
There's a Sonic by there?
yeah.
Where's the new Sonic?
It's on Troy Schenectady Road and Wade Road.
Gotcha. Yeah, they opened like a BurgerFi right after I left, or what's that one on Route 9? They opened up some new burger
Yeah,
place.
yeah, I think it's BurgerFi.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's the name. Yeah, so it's, everything is easily accessible now, which is, always a temptation. And even coming home after a meeting at night, it's 8:30, 9 o'clock, and it would sound good, some chili cheese tots. That'd be great. And so it's trying to fight that temptation.
And long term, Jason, my goal for you is to understand how to incorporate those.
Mm-hmm.
Because the truth is, you get enough food to do that. The key is going to be understanding what that means for your day. If you want chili cheese tots, knowing that's probably going to be a pretty substantial blow to my fat for the day, but doable. And then the other aspect of it being, so long as that doesn't open up, the floodgates, and now you're not, like, because the same principle that I apply to those Oreos, I'm with my willpower very determined, like, hey, I stop my Oreos when I'm done. So you have to be able to incorporate those, but then not go crazy either.
Yeah.
So let's talk next steps. So let's carry us through to Monday. I would say our next goal, I would really like to see between now and Monday, striving for that protein. Because I also think you hitting that protein is going to keep you more full and satisfied, and that change in the macro balance. And then that'll be the number one priority. And then number two is just going to be to start to reel in the carbs. So let's focus just on two. If luckily and with some effort and thought, you bring that fat down as well, great. But let's bring the protein up, carbs down a little bit. So a couple things you probably need to think about is just getting protein throughout the day. So every meal you have, whatever you're eating for protein currently, we need to increase at that meal. So just a little more at every meal, whether it's egg whites, whether it's some turkey, whatever that is, and then potentially adding a supplement. If you do you take any shakes right now?
No.
So you're getting 110 without any. If you found one at the you're by the mall or on Amazon or wherever you order one, a scoop of 24 to 30 grams, all of a sudden you're much higher on that protein. So something to consider. No brand that I'm throwing at you, but and I'm not saying you need it. I'd rather you get it from real foods, but it's a start.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, sounds good.
Have you weighed yourself since Monday?
Yeah, I've weighed myself every day.
How has the weight been?
It's actually gone down since Monday.
What's it gone down?
Actually almost 4 pounds.
Well, that's pretty good news, huh?
Yeah.
That's great. 4 pounds in 4 days. Now, I don't expect that trend to keep up, but I think long term, when you first get started, we'll probably see some substantial loss off the bat, and then it'll start to slow down. I usually say 1 to 2 pound of weight loss, especially, is sustainable for long term. It's typically good weight. We don't want to lose too much too soon and risk it being muscle. So that's great. 4 pounds in 4 days. This is phenomenal. All right. So let's touch base again Monday, and let's continue this. You know how to reach me if you need me, and you're doing phenomenal. You're doing great.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. You have a great rest of the day.
You too.
Bye.